Hello everybody, welcome back to Garish, your favorite rap scholar. I thought just for a little bit of a fun video, we could grade the lyrics on Drake's new album together. Because, whoa, we've got some incredible lines to unpack here, ladies and gentlemen. Before we get started, remember to please do subscribe. We're going to be dissecting the JPEGMAFIA album very soon, and I'm sure many of you wouldn't want to miss that. But let's get started with these lyrics. Believe it or not, I'm not a Drake hater. At a point, I would maybe even describe myself as a Drake fan of sorts. But it's been many years, and I'm not gonna lie, returning to Drake's music has been a mixed bag. Make Them Cry, I think, is a great opener. I think it's really heartfelt. Drake sounds super convicted, and he engages with this dig deeper motif pretty effectively. What I'm not such a fan of is wordplay like Drake saying that he puts the man in manipulation and manifestation. Marks off for that, Drake. Apart from that, though, Drake is pretty effectively conveying this idea of him battling himself. The next song, Dust, has this grumbling beat. This refrain of I am, which I feel like might be a reference to Sylvia Plath. It's really cool to hear Drake go so intertextual, you know, with the Eugene O'Neill reference in the album title, the Sylvia Plath reference here. Except I'm also convinced that Drake is doing this very unintentionally. Drake doesn't really engage with Plath's work any more than that. But I will say this I am refrain is a pretty effective assertion of self-worth as it's used in the novel. But then Drake once again ruins it. He's got these lame crypto references, you know, to Sam Bankman-Fried or whatever, and Forex, and Drake, I don't give a shit. Go blow the dust off your plaques is a pretty cool refrain. Go blow the dust off your plaques. Go blow the dust off your plaques. It's like, it's cool. It would go really hard back in 2024. Do not believe Drake when he says, I'm a corporate America hit survivor. The level of delusional you would have to be to genuinely believe that Drake's like a victim, and the idea that he's not a big gear within the machine of corporate America is just ridiculous. It just comes across really hollow, tone deaf, dumb. I do like the line, I'm doing my big one, you doing a little one, what kind of man are you? A middle one. This is probably an allusion to the song Middle Child. Drake pretty effectively here uses antithesis. The syntax is really structured for effect. I feel like it effectively attacks Cole's lack of decisiveness during the time of the beef. And then, again, he ruins it with this onslaught of just weak-ass similes. That's the problem with a lot of Drake's writing on this album, is it's paper thin. You know, it's like the skin of an onion. If you just take it on a surface level, it works, it's fine. But the second you dig deeper, it's like 50-50 as to whether you're going to get something that's kind of clever and thoughtful or just really dumb. Drake's like the kid that you teach who kind of gets some of the concepts and whose writing is good some of the time, but they really do lack the depth and skill to effectively sustain the images and ideas they want to convey. And also this line, when you run into the Iceman, what you're going to do except freeze? Just like... This next song though, Janice STFU, guys, this is a Drake banger. Okay, incredible beats, incredible chorus. Drake's voice in the chorus just sounds like creepy and monstrous and so catchy. And I also think this line about like white kids listen to you because they feel some guilt, it has more truth to it than some people want to admit. There are lots of very performative white Kendrick listeners who want to listen to Kendrick, I feel, because of the image associated. The problem is that Drake's wording here doesn't really imply that point that I'm making. He should have been shooting these shots at Kendrick back then. At this point, every Kendrick shot that, you know, Drake fires off on this album just makes me think of Kendrick's words. It's like COVID. They will never get over it. The next song, though, sucks. It's Drake and Future's weakest collab yet, which is titled Ran to Atlanta. But again, it's just like, dude, it's 2 years later, and then you come back and you link up with Future, but then the song is just Life is Good, but not as good as Life is Good, or Life is Still Good. I think Future's part is the only part that sounds good because of those like rising horns in the background. Sounds really epic, really cool. I can't wait for that one part of the song to be played at the club. I do like the line though, I went Saint John the Baptist on the lamb. Come on, that's a hard line. John the Baptist getting beheaded by King Herod. The next song, Make Them Pay, full of Drizzy quotables. You see the whole YMNCA, just like the village people, and they envy me like Nevada. So, okay. Drake's got this habit of doing this sort of corny wordplay that is sometimes charming in an elementary manner. What I'm not such a fan of is this, I rack up a tab in Chanel because I do buy everything like I'm Middle Eastern. Drake has literally used this Iraq wordplay before on Meltdown. It's just, he's so lazy. It's just like, dude, stop it, do something new. Also, this Drake, I love the album, man. Well, you're kind of a genius. It like sounds kind of clumsy, wordy, clunky bars that I don't think really land. Although I do like the shots at DJ Khaled. I think they're well written, referencing the Palestinian flag. And the Aiden Ross wordplay is pretty clever as well. Although the Aiden Ross shout out is just like, Drake, why? Aiden Ross, whatever you may think about him, you need to understand that he is a voice piece for the American empire, right? And so when Drake aligns himself with Aiden Ross, and then he doesn't say anything about MAGA reusing his album cover, it's just like, I actually forgot about this song, Shebang. It's because it's so boring and forgettable. Lazy writing, he uses the a lot flow. Awful, lifeless lyrics that are delivered with no energy. Burning Bridges is also a snoozer. The lame callback to Back is just kind of sad. You're calling back to the beef you actually won. Like, does Drake know how desperate he looks when he does stuff like this? Your baby mama ain't even post the single. Drake, you're 40. Who cares about, like, Instagram stories? The next song, National Treasures, actually starts with a really incredible beat, but then it transitions to, like, a much less cool beat, and it speaks to something that really frustrates me about this album, is the constant beat changing and switching. Problem is, when you do that all the time, some of those beats are inevitably gonna sound better than others. But anyway, I do like the lines, they diss on the boy till they blue in the face. I put all the faces that's blue in the safe. Come on, dude, that's, although I don't like the line, check signing is my kink, pushing out ink, I feel like a squid. Does Drake know when squids ink themselves? Does he know when they do that? Squids do that when they're scared, when they're trying to escape a situation, right? So again, this is what I'm saying about layers and how Drake interacts with figurative language. The second I dig deeper, it's Drake commenting on his own cowardice? Using his teams of lawyers to get out of situations like a squid uses its ink. Also, he reuses this mind on my money, I'm racking my brain line twice in this song, and then on the next song, Bees on the Table, which is also just a boring song, not great. 21 Savage and Future, they phoned it in on this album. 21 Savage just sounds so lifeless. He doesn't want to be there. The lines, sometimes I sit in the parking garage and I talk to my watch or talk to my whip. Not necessarily a good set of lines, but I do feel like they capture Drake's brand of masculinity pretty effectively. The next song, Plot Twist, he's got a secret handshake that you're not allowed to know. Drake makes stuff like this sound corny. He makes it sound lame. This whole song is just Drake trying too hard. Although the I'll beat a producer like what's the BPM line is a good bar. It's a good bar. It's credit where credit's due, The next song, Too Hard for the Radio, is I actually think one of the better songs on the album. Drake's writing kind of taps into that corny register that he likes using, but he gets away with it because it's charming. And he also takes shots at certain people that mix in circles that maybe they shouldn't. And he also takes shots on the next song, Make Them Remember, in a pretty interesting way. This set of lines, if Drake took out the AK, maybe he'd be in jail, just based off the name that it spells, is pretty clever. I do think that it speaks to a certain blind spot lots of people have double standards, maybe. It's a good point on Drake's part, and the way the bars sort of tumble over each other into the next line. What they say they just smelled. I heard they got places in hell for dudes joking about evil when they did it themselves. It's really well written, guys. I don't know what to tell you, and he's got a really good point. But then again, Drake, he ruins it with, the owl only wakes up to seize the day. Who's gonna tell him? Who's gonna break the news to Drake? When do owls hunt, Drake? I know lots of people are going bananas over this not see me on the top of the mountain. I think that's just a typical stupid Drake bar where he does his self-victimization thing. This owl line is really the worst line on the album for me. It's so dumb. And it's like Drake's symbol. You'd think he'd get it right. You'd think he'd know. No, it's the owls and squids, guys. Apparently 2 animals that Drake doesn't really understand. The next song, Don't Worry, I don't really care about. I have some notes here, but I'm not going to go through them. Apart from Drake wants you to know that he really likes Persian women. Yeah, because sexualizing a people that are being threatened with annihilation is so hot. Oh. And Drake's weirdness kind of carries on to the next song, Affirm Friends. Some of the lines here. I am not the villain or the victim. I am the author. My numbers are humbling facts. Kind of go hard. But then Drake kind of gets weird again. He compares himself to JFK, getting blood on Jackie Kennedy, but then saying he wouldn't let that happen because he has OCD and he can't get blood on it. It's weird. Why is he? And then he also says he's leading a revolution. Dude, look how you're moving. You're not. No, come on. No. And then there's the last song on the album, which is just high school poetry, guys. I've marked high school poetry. I know what high school poetry looks like. It looks like these lyrics here. They're not good. And this, if the Rolex I want about to drop, I reserve that shit like I'm indigenous or aboriginal. The line is so good, he had to use it twice. Drake seems to be able to think he can gaslight people into thinking he's the victim, but also the champion. And I don't know if this album does a great job of convincing anybody of that. But look, it does have some bangers. I don't think this is nearly as bad as some people are making it out to be. Grade, I'm going to give it a D. D for Drake.